we don't really want you to show up to be like, yeah, I want to watch them play their instruments. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a Van Halen show. You know what I
Right.
mean? We want you to show up so you can go nuts.
What is up, everyone? Thanks for tuning in. This is another episode of the Scope Exposure Podcast. I am very excited for this returning guest of the podcast. Jay came on kind of at the back end of season 2, and looking back on that conversation, it was like one of my favorite episodes that we did that season. Obviously a huge fan of his bands and who he is as a person in hardcore, but just his authenticity of, just talking about life and his perspective on the scene was just something that, like, I still listen back as like a reminder at times to really, know why I am about the shit that I am. And, I think Jay reached out after Lumpy's interview and wanted to come back. And I'm very, very excited to be welcoming back the frontman of the best band in the world, Jay of MINDFORCE and Pillars of Ivory.
Thanks for having me, man. That was great. I keep getting like an update thing on my computer. Is that coming through, that sound?
I don't hear anything on my end, so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, man. Those were really kind words. I'm humbled. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
It's still one of my favorite things ever that I've seen live from your world, and we're gonna talk about the POI Sound and Fury set, but just you saying that on stage, I almost wanted to have that as a ringtone of you saying, "Give it up for the best band in the world, us."
Oh shit! Yeah. Just being a stunad.
Yeah. But Jay, like, obviously MINDFORCE put out an awesome record last year. But
Thank you.
I think that there's a lot of things to catch up on when it comes to you and I. It's been a while since you've been on the podcast. But before we get into all the music chats, obviously, as you know, we gotta check a bev. So whatever you got for drinks for the episode, let me know. What's up?
Well, I got a Poland Spring water here. It's not that exciting, but it is tasty.
Drinking it out of a mason jar, which is a move.
Yeah, this is a
jar of some kind.
Cocoa Nugs jar. I bought some weed in this once.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just using it for
multi-purpose.
A drink now.
Yeah.
I'm just really drinking water and espresso these days. So a lot of water.
Yeah.
So
do you ever combine those and do a little bit of Americano situation?
Nah, I really only just have the quick espresso shot in the morning.
I see. I got you.
Yeah.
So the last time I wanted to make sure that I didn't do the same bev as far as the last time we spoke. So last time I was checking a Liquid Death, but I wanted to do something a little unique, and I've never had for myself, obviously with you coming back. So this is called Maple 3. It is a sparkling maple water. So that's a big thing being a Canadian, is like the maple water drinks. So this is
no shit, really?
Yeah, there's a sparkling water company that I really like called Sapsucker, and it's like maple water. So it's like naturally like sweetened just a little bit. But this is a brand that I haven't had yet before. So
do they make maple water without the sparkly water, without the bubbles? Just straight
up tap, like still maple water? Not that I'm aware of. That's definitely an idea.
I don't like the bubbles. I don't like the sparkly water. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I find some still maple water, I'll definitely send that your way. But
you guys ever hear of maple water? No? That sounds good.
Crickets. But Jay, cheers to you, my friend. I'm really excited to do the pod.
Yo, cheers. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Whoa. What's going on here? That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
Real sugary or not too much?
Not too much. It's got like 8 grams of sugar, so not like crazy, but yeah, I'm into it. That's a good first sip. So we'll see how it carries on for the rest of the episode.
Word.
Yeah. So Jay, it's your first. It's not your first time being on the show. You've been on here before, so we've covered a lot of like the origin stuff when it comes to your arc into hardcore on your first episode. So on the second episodes that I do, we do like the bev check, but then I just kind of do a vibe check and see how you've been doing since the last time we chatted. Yeah. So what's going on in your world right now?
Oh, nothing much. We're in the dead of winter here in New York. It's mad cold. Is it cold? It's cold by you too,
Oh,
right?
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
heaps of
no,
snow.
Things have been great, man. Since we talked last, we wrote and put out a record, and I had a little bit of a health hiccup in the fall, but I got through it, man, and things are going good with that. Not going to get too much into it, but I'm doing really good. I'm in physical therapy. I'm back working out every single day, and I'm feeling good. I'm ready to just destroy the world.
I love it. Doing like the physical therapy stuff that you just mentioned, is that something that's like a little newer to you, or are you always kind of like, keeping things in check with your health stuff? Or was that kind of like, hey, I got to shift some things in my world?
Yes and no. I've had bouts of it before. Just being a lifelong athletic guy, playing sports and moshing and skateboarding. I've really done a number on my body, and even working out and stuff like that, and just being hard on your body, traveling, everything. So I have had bouts with it before. And certain good physical therapy, depending on what you're working on, it can be really hard. But if you have a good physical therapist, you can feel really great. And I want to be getting back to doing some things as far as my workout goes, and as far as sports go. I want to be back doing some things full force this summer, and it looks like I'm going to be there. So physical therapy is working out really good for me.
Yeah, we love to hear that. Are you one of those people, like, I don't know, when you say physical therapy, if it means like if there's like specific practices, or like it is kind of like broad and you're hitting on a bunch of different things?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that much about the world of physical therapy. The doctor wrote me a prescription, and I went there. And sometimes, a lot of it is like, stretching, yoga kind of stuff. Some of it's working out, exercising stuff. And then sometimes it's really slow, like massage stuff, working on like, muscle trauma and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have a lot of vocabulary on the world in that world, and I'm not that familiar with it. But the doctor wrote me a prescription. I'm going. It's going good.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. The reason I was asking is I listened to a podcast where the guest is very sus about chiropractors and like their practice there, because there's a bit of like there's a bit of a trend where people will be filming and it's like, oh, just because it's cracking it's good. It's like, well, I don't know, there's like some stories of people like being fully paralyzed by like certain chiropractors, and like even doing a little bit of research about like how much schooling you actually have to go to get that is like very, very slim. So I was like, but again, like physical therapy covers so many different ways of that. So
yeah, with that kind of stuff, man, everybody's different. Everybody's body reacts differently to different things, and you really got to do your research with that kind of stuff. You really got to do your research, feel comfortable about it, but also, you really got to do your research about the individual you're going to. Also, you can't just show up at anybody's doorstep. I go to the chiropractor, and I do acupuncture, and I find that it helps me.
Yeah, I think I haven't done the acupuncture ever. I know, like, have you ever done like the cupping where it's like they put the warm stuff?
Yeah.
Get those. Yeah.
Yeah, they do that at my physical therapy. They just did that on my butt cheeks.
On your butt cheeks?
Yeah, cupped my butt cheeks.
Damn. It's like Jay getting an ass treatment to a degree.
Yeah, I mean, I felt good after, so I don't know. You know, when it comes to that stuff, man, the science, you know, obviously isn't there. You know, the science does not show good things for acupuncture or the chiropractor. But you know, I do a lot of things to help me with physical pain because of injuries over time. I've had some major injuries on my body, and even if it's all in my mind, it's helping me. So I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, man.
You know,
Yeah, I think that
I find that when I go to the doctors, they just throw drugs at me and shit, and it's just not a solution. So
yeah. Yeah, I think like whatever like health way that you're gonna go about it. It's very funny. We just did a podcast just before you with Dom of Simulacra, who told me to say what's up. But we
word,
talked.
shout out Don.
Yeah, yeah. We talked.
I just saw him in Tacoma.
Yeah, yeah. You said that you guys had like a really great first interaction there, but we talked a lot about, I guess, like he's got a pretty unique health journey, and which really has influenced his music as well. But you know, this isn't the health report card for Jay podcast. You know, obviously we have to talk about.
Good thing, because it'd be an F. No. It's on its way to a B plus.
Okay, I like to hear that. Let's even strive for an A. So Jay, since we talked last, MINDFORCE has put out a new record, New Lords, which came out on Triple B, and you know, which is kind of interesting how MINDFORCE is a band that isn't like, here's like the singles and then here's the music videos. Like you guys kind of like just kind of dropped it, and a lot of people were like really excited. Let's talk about like what went into that record. And yeah, some of the creative things that you guys wanted to really do this time around.
Well, yeah. Well, we started writing that kind of like towards the end of COVID, I think, like the end half of COVID, maybe. And we really did not plan on writing another record, but you know, me and Mike got some ideas that we didn't think we would get, of just like really small, minuscule ways we could throw in some new things, but still, still keep it the same. You know what I'm saying? So we did that. We wrote it in Mike's living room in my house over the course of, you know, a few months. And then we just got into it. You know, we just got into it. We wrote about, I think we wrote more songs than we recorded, but we always try to do that. You know, write as many songs as you can.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, only pick your favorite ones, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. There's always going to be, that's definitely a huge discipline, is like trying to write more and then like, you know, like, well, maybe we could use these as a little EP or some B-sides, but you know, sometimes like those songs don't even see the light of day. I don't know if there's even plans for the stuff that didn't make it onto this record. But
yeah,
yes.
no, I don't even remember how the ones go that didn't make it. We'll just write some more. If we ever do anything else, who knows?
I did notice that on this release, a lot of the songs are like, you know, I feel like most MINDFORCE songs are that pretty standard hardcore length, you know, 2.5, maybe 3 minutes, like never really pushing too much into the 4-minute category. But some of these songs I'm like are under a minute, or like a minute and a half. So was that very intentional about like, let's just have all killer, no filler, and just have it like really impactful that way?
I mean, yeah. We've always tried to have that no killer, all filler, but we tried to tighten it up even more.
The opposite, all killer, no filler.
Yeah. What I'm not sure. Yeah, but we've always tried to do that, but we tried to tighten it up on this one. I think our shortest song we ever had is on this one. But our songs were always pretty short, man. I got to be honest with you. You know, I mean, this record is definitely shorter than Excalibur, but not by as much as people realize. Probably only by about 3 minutes.
Yeah, which is a whole song, I guess. But
yeah, which is a whole song. That's a great point. Which is a whole track. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe we did try to tighten it up even a little more. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there were parts that we kept cutting out of the songs. This doesn't need to be here. This doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we always tried to do that, but I do think we tried to do it more than usual on this one.
Yeah.
Tighten it up, like not have one filler part at all.
Yeah. Like I definitely think that MINDFORCE, MINDFORCE's discography, like lengthwise of a song is pretty lean. But there would be times I'd be listening to the new record and I'm like, I would be like, okay, we're on song 5, and then I like, you know, I'm like vibing for a few minutes. I look down, I'm like, oh, we're on song 8 now. Like, how did that happen? So, but yeah, whether that was intentional or
it's real to the point.
Yeah, which is like, you know, it's really it is a move. But there is definitely certain songs that, like, you know, I think it's the classic thing when people hear that, they're like, you know, especially for a demo, when a band will put that out and it's like the songs are so short, it's like this demo's only like 6 minutes long. But you know, it's 6 minutes of great hardcore music, and I think the same applies for your guys' record.
Yeah, that's interesting. You know, it's funny, man. People have focused on the length of the record a lot since it's come out, and I mean, we definitely put in a lot of thought. You know, it definitely was on purpose. We wanted a short record. I think the only other record to come out that year that's around our length was the Terror record. It's also like 18 minutes long or some shit like that. But it's funny, you know, man, when I'm thinking about a record, the records that I love and records that I think are long, I think like my philosophy when it comes to writing music has always been if you're getting towards the end of the record and you know what I mean, and it's starting to feel like you want it to be over, I think it's like, what I'm trying to say is, I think it's better for a record to be too short than too long. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When a record is too short, people want more. When a record is too long, people just shut it off.
Yeah, true.
So it's something I've thought about a real lot. And for me, I don't know if it's my time in music and whatnot, but I'm really tired of the long hardcore records, man. I'm really tired of the long songs. And to me, you know, the concept of a longer album or even like an album that's as long as like civilian music album, like a pop album or just a regular album, I don't think that length in any way defines genre.
Yeah. So you're thinking that there are country songs, R&B songs that could be a quote unquote hardcore length, where it's like, you know, more like a minute and change, but like,
yeah, like a 30-minute album, a 40-minute album. You know, I know a lot of newer hardcore records that are that long, and you know, so are a lot of like, shit, man, I don't even know what to reference. I bet the Bad Bunny record is 40 minutes long. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, I think that's a great point, to just be like, you know, and I think that really goes into like whoever's producing or like the songwriters in the band themselves, to like really be like don't cushion any riff of like, oh, it has to stay here. It's like, well, is this actually giving anything to make this part sick? Like, there's definitely some hardcore songs that are like 4 minutes, but like every part of that song like makes sense and it helps drive it. But like, I feel like that's the exception to the rule, which is like, you know, sometimes all you need is fast part into two-step, fast part into breakdown, and you know, don't overstay your welcome. Yeah,
like some of my favorite hardcore tracks are 4 minutes long. You know what I mean? But it's all about what's best for the song. You know, when they were writing those songs, every part that came next, that was right for the song. You know what I mean? It's all about the song, not the musician, in my opinion. I think back to when I was younger, and I think I listened to a lot of stuff I did, and I think sometimes I think the riff is just in the song because one of the guys wrote it. You know what I mean? Like, just because you wrote it and it's pretty good, even if it's good, doesn't mean it's right for the song. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I don't know if that makes sense or it sounds silly. But,
no, totally. Yeah. I think some of my early bands, it was definitely like, okay, we're just adding this riff because so-and-so is in this band and he's going to have a fit if the riff is not in the song and he doesn't feel like he contributed that way.
Yeah, it's like, yo, this riff is sick too. And it's like, yeah, bro, but we got 10 sick riffs.
Like, let's
You know what I
save the
mean?
sick
Like,
riff for maybe something else, or maybe
yeah,
it's not
whatever.
as
I
sick.
don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's not as sick.
The measuring of the sick riffs when there's 10 other great ones is, it's obvious. I was listening to your hard lore episode that came out just a couple of weeks ago, where you were talking about how the writing of MINDFORCE riffs is not just like, everything is brought to the table. There's a lot of things where you are, mouthing how a riff should go, or like at least brainstorming those kind of things. Have you always been that way, or did that start when MINDFORCE started?
Oh, that's a good question. I've been always that way a little bit. It's always been kind of the way I've written music.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, when it comes to MINDFORCE, more than ever with Mike, me and Mike really talk about intent and what we want from a song before we start writing it a lot. We want a song like this. Excuse me. Or we want a song like this. Yeah, we do. I think I always have been a little bit like that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I remember specifically when we were talking on your first episode about like when you heard like I think it was the Swingin' Swords like kind of guitar riff intro, where you were like, that was like like almost like the textbook definition of what MINDFORCE should feel like when you hear it for the first time.
Yeah. Like stuff like some Michael come at me. Michael bring like 4 things, but usually like there's only one of them where I'm like, ooh, there's just something about it that I could feel, where I'm like, that's it, that's ours.
Right. Yeah. And I think like there is an element of like I rock the riff stick in some bands, and I'm all for people being like, yo, like, can you write something that's like this and send me like a reference point or something like that? But yeah, I think there was another podcast we did where we were just talking about like the language of being able to like explain the guitar riff or the drum part to each other. And if you don't speak that language, like, your band could be working at a snail's pace.
Yeah, man. The language can be different depending on the dynamic of the people writing it. Sometimes there's even not a lot of language. I find when I'm writing with lots of times when I'm writing with Mike, or a lot of the time when I'm writing with my homie Lumpy, I don't even finish the sentence. Like, we're just like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. We're just like get real hyped on it and shit like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a great point, man. You got to know the language and the slang of your own band, and what that person means by the words he's using.
I also heard that you were talking about like when you were crafting some of these songs, you're almost like imagining how people will like react when they hear that guitar only part, or this drum fill, or this transition. Which I definitely do the same thing when I'm writing my own music. Is like, oh, when this kicks, like people are gonna fucking go crazy. But has there ever been any songs either on New Lords or any other past material where like, because it's something that I think about, where it's like you think one thing, but you never actually know if it's going to translate until you play it live, right? So has there been any times where you thought this part is going to be the most explosive part in our set, and in reality it's still sick, but it's not as huge as you thought it was going to be?
There's been I mean, it's a great question. That's a great question. Before I go into a more in-depth answer, I'd say, and not to toot my own horn, but I usually can feel the ones that are going to be right live right away.
You got
right away.
A Nostradamus effect a little bit.
I usually can tell the ones that are going to be the live tracks right away. And then and sometimes though, sometimes I'm wrong though. Sometimes we try ones out and they pop harder than I thought they would. But when it comes to the other way, like as far as one going over better than I thought it would, sometimes I can sense it for the most part. But I will say this, like when it comes to writing songs, we and I don't know, maybe this separates us from other hardcore bands, but our only intent when we're writing a song is for the live experience that comes from it. There's not like when you come to a MINDFORCE show, like we don't really want you to show up to be like, yeah, I want to watch them play their instruments. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not a Van Halen show. You know what I mean? We want you to show up so you can go nuts.
Right. Yes.
So like, there's lots of parts we write that are cool, but like they're not going to make people go nuts. You know? So for us, like every aspect of that part of the song is for some type of chaotic reaction live, whether it's stage diving, whether it's singing along, whether it's, you know, kickboxing, whatever. You know, because for me, hardcore is about, for me, the show isn't the band, it's the crowd. For me. And that's another reason why the songs aren't long. I don't know about you, but I can't fucking mosh for 40 minutes, man. You know what I mean?
Maybe do it in bursts of a minute and a half, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Over,
and this is, and sometimes at shows, like a lot of these fests, people are moshing all day long. A lot of the shows are 6 to 7 bands. And it's also a lot of the song length and structure is crafted like that, just to make that explode quicker and harder live. You know what I mean? It all has to do with the live chaos, man.
Yeah.
That's the shit we live for.
Right.
Like, you know, we work all week long. We fucking do all this shit all week long. We just don't feel like, you know, we fit in anywhere. Then at the hardcore show, the chaos explodes. It's madness. Feel like we're gonna die, and somehow I find peace in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why we do it. That's why we make the songs like that.
I'd be very interested on like polling the hardcore community at large, and maybe we can add, Jordan, this is a note for you. Maybe we can add this in the actual episode. Like, I don't, and I'm gonna have to try to find the right wording here. I don't know if the buildup of like a 3 to 4 minute hardcore song to like that huge like breakdown at the end, like if that goes off better versus like we were talking about, like the blips of the 40-second song, but like it's got a hard ass part that only goes for 15 seconds. Like because to your point, like we've all gone to fests where it's like we're all tired because there's been 15,000 bands playing on one specific day. But still, like whoever's headlining that show, there's almost like this surge of adrenaline. I remember seeing, I went to a fest in Oklahoma that Scowl was headlining the last day. And this is off of 3 days of just like pits on pits, like hard ass moshing. And I was like, man, I hope that people still go off for Scowl. And that was like the craziest set I had ever seen from them. Just like people like rolling around on stage, like front flipping, coming up to grab the mic. Like it was really, really cool to see. But
That's sick.
Yeah, like you got my brain going off of like the how adrenaline plays a part in like, okay, the song starts, and is it better to have like, where's the sweet spot of like having a 40-minute song that has this much moshability parts to it versus a song that's 3 or 4 minutes, but it has more build up, so there's more anticipation that's going into it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. It makes sense. I don't know if it's necessarily about better, more about what you want to put out there. But yeah, I don't. That's a good question. I don't know, and I don't know if there's an answer. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an answer. It's a great question, though. I'm not sure, but I know for our shows, we want it to come crazy as quick as possible, like as soon as we start. You know what I'm saying? So
it should be like a light switch, just as soon as, you know,
hopefully
that ringing comes in. Yeah. I want to talk about FYA Fest MINDFORCE set, because I unfortunately was not there, but I had a number of friends who was going, and the MINDFORCE set, like when I was talking about like what were your top sets of the weekend, MINDFORCE was always coming up. And
that's sick, man.
The crazy thing is that people were like, there was 2 mosh pits during the MINDFORCE set, and I think there might have been 1 or 2 other bands that had 2 pits in that room. has that been one of the only times that you've had 2 mosh pits to essentially to call to? I guess like maybe Sound and Fury had like maybe 1 or 2.
Sound and Fury we had 2, I think, but the FYA shit was crazy, man, because it was like 2 that formed into one long, like.
Oh, yeah, they were like 2 atoms that came together almost.
Totally. Yeah, it was amazing. It was like one of the greatest moments of my life when that happened. But yeah, I think the only other time we had 2 is Sound and Fury.
Yeah. But
that was happening throughout the day here and there for Sound and Fury. But it was the only time I noticed it at FYA. Was then. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the time frame of you noticing it where to when it becomes one giant war zone that
Oh, dude, it's kind of weird. I didn't even, like, when it happened at Sound and Fury, I didn't notice it till I was told it happened, just because I was just in my own zone. You know what I mean?
You're also in the sun. It's hot. Like 5,000 people.
You know,
there's a lot of factors.
FYA though, you know, you have the lights on, which I really enjoy. There's mixed feelings on the lights on in FYA. I really get why Bob does that. It reminds me of the VFW shows I went to growing up. But yeah, no, I noticed it for one song, and then like I think maybe I talked some shit about it, like, you know, let's get it one giant one, and then it kind of formed into one giant one.
I see.
And that shit was crazy. I mean, if you were there at FYA, you know, I mean, that shit was nuts. I'm trying to recreate that at every show going forward.
Right. Yeah. Like I think it's very rare for a show of any magnitude to have 2 pits that spark up. But I think you are right that those pits should become one, and you know, just create, you know, make that black hole that much bigger.
Shit was dope. It formed into one, and then it was like this giant one, and then it got real long, like a long football.
I saw people front flipping off of the bar that was at the back of the room.
Yeah, I didn't see that when it happened, but I heard about it. I heard about all sorts of crazy shit. So yeah, it was fucking nuts, man. And I mean, that's the shit we live for, you know. It feels crazier than ever lately, and that's what we want. We just want it to keep getting crazier and crazier, you know.
I also want to echo what you said about lights on for shows, because, well, for 2 reasons. A, as someone that also films shows, it's always like the better lighting scenario, because like whether you're filming or just watching, like you can see everything when the lights are on. But as soon as I've filmed shows where bands have been like, yo, fuck these lights. And then I'm like, okay, well, this is just going to be like the most low light video quality, like grainy, because I have to like increase a bunch of shit. But if I was president hardcore, I would be like, all shows have lights on at all times. I guess like if the band is like
all of them.
Specific. Yeah, I would say all of them.
What?
Maybe that's a hot take. I don't know.
Okay. No, that's cool. I like it for FYA. It's cool. Like, it's different. It gives it's part of like the whole energy of the whole fest. Yeah, I'm down for whatever. I don't really think about it a lot though, to be honest with you. Lights, no lights. You know, I think it's cool too when the crazy mosh part comes and everybody shuts the lights off for 4 minutes or whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But so I'm down for whatever, but I think it's cool that it's like that at FYA, you know. But it is cool. I feel like the one thing I hate, you ever have like a club do like a strobe light type of thing?
I have only played a few shows where the strobe has kicked in. You're like, not about that?
No, not so much. Not so much when I'm playing. I don't like it. But when you're moshing and the strobe light is going, it's like
terrible.
It's like the fist. It's like, oh, bow. It's like you can't see it coming. It's like 1 minute is there and then you're knocked out.
Right.
And I've been
this
in
is
some
not a
places
comic
where they've
strip.
done
This is real life.
Yeah, that shit is whack. I also, despise fucking fog machines. I
I
despise them.
was just gonna ask you about fog machines.
Oh man, I fucking hate them.
Yeah.
I hate them. Either make it weed smoke or nothing at all.
Mm.
I don't want any fog machine shit.
So instead of a fog machine, it should just be a small man in a little box just smoking weed and blowing it out, right?
Nah, it should be nothing, really. Should be nothing. If I, you know, if I don't like that. Lights are cool and everything. I don't know, man.
I have a feeling I'm gonna get some DMs and heat about saying that every single hardcore show should have the lights on, but I don't care. I'm just
Whatever.
say it. I'll say it. Speaking of weed, and we're talking about different fests. We have to talk about Pillars of Ivory Sound and Fury 2022.
Okay.
And I want to shout out like one of my best friends in the entire world, Daniel, who plays in one of my bands, but also does a lot of dope stuff. He is a avid weed connoisseur, and he was at that fest, and I could make a reel as far as him smoking weed and stage diving at the same time during that set. I could probably point him out for you if you were really curious, but that.
Oh, he was there? He was there?
Oh, yes. Yeah. It was like his favorite set of the whole weekend. He got like the fucking
cool, man.
orange, you know, what's the tie-dye POI shirt. He wore that on tour, you know, once he was back from that fest. It was wild. But I think when we first did our first podcast, you guys had only played one show and that hadn't happened yet. But you were saying like a POI show is going to be just like tons of weed, and like doing it outside, you know, is probably, you know, a good deal. Like, because if that shit was inside, that shit would be hotbox to hell.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, then it would have been. I don't know what to tell you.
Like
POI show, there's gonna be some weed involved, you know.
Right.
We were smoking weed and shit, and at the St. Vitus show we played too. We were smoking weed and shit on stage, but
not like that.
At the Sound and Fury
not
show,
like that.
no, because at the Sound and Fury show, we got a bunch of our homies who live in California, and one of our homies, you know, he had a bunch of leftover weed from working on a weed farm that, you know, with nothing to do with. And so we were able to pre-roll like hundreds of joints and throw them out into the crowd for everybody. We weren't able to do at the St. Vitus show. We just had weed for us. I think that's why it looked so crazy.
Yeah.
At the Sound and Fury show, because we threw out hundreds of pre-rolls, hundreds.
It was just like seeing the hero shot from the back of the stadium grounds and seeing just the rising of weed smoke was like, this is perfect.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That was real fun, man. You know, and let me tell you, if you caught one of the two POI shows, you know, that's really special, man. I don't know if we'll ever play again. We'll see. We might not. It's whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
And that's the thing about hardcore is that like whether a band is like out the gate like super active, like, you know, nothing is guaranteed. The band could like be a touring machine, and then one thing happens where maybe a member can't, or, you know, there's something, and then the band breaks up, and then people are playing that, oh, I wish I should have blah blah blah. So, you know, being able to be able to be at the events that you have access to, and not just being like lazy to not go to a show, and seeing bands, like, even if you don't like know about them, to check them out, because I'm sure there's people who didn't know who Pillars of Ivory was, but like got to see you guys, probably had a blast, and, you know, I'm sure a lot of their friends would be like, oh, I'm so jealous that you got to see that band, because they've only played twice in their existence.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to play. We've tried to play a few shows since, but it's tough with POI, man. I mean, right now, Aaron has a new pizza shop he started in the fall that's going real strong. He's there every single day working his ass off, and it's going really great for him. He's also still doing Death Threat here and there. Jack's got Age of Apocalypse, AOA is popping right now. They're traveling a lot, playing a lot. Daniel is playing in Angel Dust. Angel Dust is doing stuff nonstop right now. Shout out to Daniel. Shout out to Angel Dust. Shout out to Jack. Shout out to AOA. Shout out to Death Threat. And then all the other guys in POI are MINDFORCE, you know, and we just put out a new record, and we're getting all these offers we don't want to say no to. Most of them, a lot of them, we have to say no to, so we're trying to do all we can. So it's really tough for POI to play. Right. And it's also a lot of work that goes into a POI show, as far as like the beats and getting all the technical shit set up and everything, and syncing it all right. And I think we'll play again, though. I think we will, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and who knows where it will be as well. You know, it might not be another Sound Fury. It could be, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to do just a POI show somewhere, like where we have not. But it hasn't been able to work out. But maybe in the future, man, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, when it comes to this music stuff, as far as me and most of my close friends, and like I know Mike and MINDFORCE and Aaron with POI and Out for Justice, my 3 things I do, I really don't overthink it, man. I keep it month to month. You know, I have no expectations and no goals except to make myself happy and have fun with my friends. I think that sometimes frustrates people because they want to, oh, what? No, you got to do this and that. And you got to, but it's not how it is, man. You know, and not for me anyway. It's not the main thing in my life. It's not my career. It's not at the center of my life or income. So it's just about, you know, having fun and expressing myself.
Yeah. Like that, especially with a band like MINDFORCE or even POI, as far as like having a lot of eyes on you guys, a lot of like, I'm sure there's a lot of different festivals or like booking people or bands who are like, oh yeah, like we would love to be able to do stuff. And there are stuff that has like come down the pipe, like seeing you guys get announced for Furnace Fest. I was like, that is a very smart move from that fest, but it's like a huge opportunity for you guys as well. But to hear from you saying,
I'm not happy about having to go to Alabama. I hate that place. But yeah, I'm going.
Are you hate it for any specific reason, or are you worried about the pizza choices for when you're down there, or what's the?
I have a story of something that happened to one of my friends once. Just any story I've heard about Alabama, my friends going through it. It's just been scary, man. Like that's funny. I brought this guy. Shout out my.
I'm not trying to ask you to shit on Alabama publicly.
No. I haven't been to Alabama a lot. I'm sure it's a great place. But shout out to my homie Big Will. He's a Hudson Valley mosh legend. He's been in some bands from around here too, a band called Nerve Gas Tragedy and a band called Dark Past, for anybody out there that likes to dig deep into YouTube video archives. But he was in Alabama passing through once. He got pulled over, and all he had on him was a roach from a joint. It was maybe the size of my pinky nail, and I've got mad skinny fingers, so this shit is small.
Sure.
You know, and he had to spend 2 days in jail for it, and he couldn't. He couldn't figure out who to call, or it was just like a whole thing. You know, he had to spend 2 days in jail and the only other gentleman was in the cell was this guy who kept like. I'm not going to get into it, but sure. It always frightened me, that story. And ever since, anytime I got weed on me and I'm about to go through Alabama, I try to violently smoke it all to get rid of it.
Right.
Because I'm just so scared about how they treat marijuana like fucking crack out there. And I don't know, man. It just seems like I could be wrong, but you know, I don't know. It just
So
seems
POI
like
will not be playing Alabama anytime soon. Is kind
I
of what
don't.
you're insinuating.
Nah, I don't know, man. Can't believe MINDFORCE is playing.
Yeah, but
That's where it is, right? Alabama.
Yeah, yeah, because I think their fest was one of the first fests like that kind of was coming back like post pandemic, and I saw a lot of tweets that were like, I can't believe the first show back after COVID is going to be in Alabama of all places. But it is.
I don't know. I
I
shouldn't. I shouldn't even say anything. I don't know anything about Alabama, but
I'm
all
sure
I
you
do
guys are going to
know,
have a blast. I'm
all
sure
I
you guys
do
are
know
gonna-
is a lot of my friends ended up in jail when they were crossing through it. So.
Okay. Well, we
you
know
just
Furnace
keep me
Fest
out
has
of jail. I got a job.
Furnace Fest, keep Jay and any of the
I got
MINDFORCE
a
weed
nice,
gang out of jail, please.
you know, just, you know,
Yeah.
I'm living a very straight life. Let's keep it that way.
Let's keep it that way. But like, I think before we got a little Alabama tangent, just to hear you say that you keep your band stuff on a month-to-month basis is very, it's very like, for lack of a better term, sobering in a way, because I think there's a lot of bands who are like super busy that like have their entire years that are planned out, and sometimes that can be a little overwhelming for the person on who's in that world, but it's also like, I don't know, I've struggled with a little bit of that, not imposter syndrome, but like that comparison of like, oh well, this person has, I'm talking to them in January and they have stuff planned out till October. Like, what do I have going on in October? I don't know. But that helps with me with like, yeah, like being month to month is like totally fine with, you know, whatever you're doing. Big band or small band.
Yeah, you just gotta do what makes you happier, less stressed. Some people feel less stressed by planning out all those months.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Not me. I have way too much going in my life personally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I work full time. My career requires a lot of my time and a lot of sacrifice and responsibilities. I'm a full-time dad. I'm a full-time husband. I'm in a bunch of bands. I'm a dog owner, you know, and you know, it sounds silly to label all those things on, but they're all important responsibilities. And for me, I have a notebook. I take my life day to day, week to week. I still write things down instead of typing them in my phone. I just find that it's more of a mnemonic activity. It helps me remember better to write than type.
Right. And
I got so much going on that I do get very overwhelmed and stressed out. I can only think about so much at a time, you know. So I have to do it that way. And we do plan things out. Like I feel like shows are being booked out further than ever these days. You know what I mean? So we do like we're booked until July. You know, we're booked. And I can only do 2 weekends a month, maybe 3 if I'm lucky. I mean, I could do more, but I'd go fucking insane. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm not gonna. And yeah, you gotta find out what works for you and what keeps you not stressed and keeps you happy. And you gotta really try not to compare yourself to what other people are doing or how other people are doing it. Mm-hmm. Because you just, it makes no difference, you know.
Yeah.
If anything, instead of compare, maybe study and see if something someone else is doing will work for you or not. Try it. If it doesn't,
then you know.
Then you know, and it's that's something that comes with a lot of work on yourself. You know, it's not easy to not compare yourself constantly with other things. I think that comes with wisdom and age, you know.
Totally. I really like how you framed it there, like, don't compare, study. Because someone's way of life isn't just like copy and paste it to yours, and you'll for sure have the same success, and you'll for sure have the same level of happiness. Like, there's definitely moments where I'm like, man, I wish that I had more time or bandwidth to be able to do more tours, do more bands. But then at the same time, I was like, well, I see some of those people that are maybe doing that, and like I know that they're not like super stoked about it. Like they might be stoked about their bands and what they're doing, but like they're not giving themselves like maybe the necessary, you know, like personal time that they need to like recharge and give that to them. So yeah, I really like the idea of like studying and then like field testing it to a degree, and then coming to your own conclusions.
Yeah. I'm somebody too when it comes to life and band life and regular life. I don't hesitate to ask for advice when it comes to older people who I look up to.
Mhm.
Like I don't think people should hesitate to reach out to older people who they look up to when they need advice, because sometimes I used to not do that sometimes because I think, oh, this guy, he's probably thinking, why does this guy need advice or whatever? But it's not true. I have a lot of people in my life who are older than me who I really look up to, who I ask for advice.
Right.
Aaron from Death Threat, I asked for a lot of advice. My friend Bruce LePage, former singer of 100 Demons, he's another one of my older friends who I've asked for a lot of advice over the last few months. My friend Paul from the Hudson Valley, from this band Dissolve, I asked for a lot of advice. And these are all guys who aren't just older than me; they're older than me that come from my world. So I feel like they might understand what I'm going through a little more. So I feel a little more comfortable about opening up to them about questions and things like that.
Do you feel like you're it's it's not that like no one outside of hardcore can't give advice on different life things, but are there certain things that like add a little bit more of like credibility because like you said, it's like you understand my interests, like the way that I view the world because of how I've been affected and impacted by this music. um yeah, I'm just kind of curious if like there is a bit of a, not a bias, but if there's something that's like adds more when you're asking someone for life advice. Like you could be talking to someone in hardcore about life advice that has nothing to do with playing in bands, putting out music, but it's still impactful
Yeah.
and holds a lot of weight.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it has to do with the advice you're looking for and the specific dynamic that that you're asking about within the band. You know what I mean? When it comes to interband personal stuff, like how to treat work with my band or whatever, I'll ask people like my dad for advice like that.
Right.
But when it comes to particularly very like, I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like when it comes to particularly like for instance, like with MINDFORCE, being in MINDFORCE, I'm experiencing a few things that are different and new to me. Like why might someone comment on the way I talk in a video and shit, just weird shit that like I've never had to like think about before. And for that type of advice, I like to talk to people who were specifically singers in bands before, you know what I mean? So for that type of advice, it does matter, like how should I feel about this shit? Kind of, how should I carry myself in this way or that way? Or I don't know. But certain stuff, yeah, it does matter. Certain stuff, it does matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any like, call it like hero pieces of advice that you are always like, if you were gonna like have as a bumper sticker on your life, as far as like things that you always think about, and something that someone said to you, hardcore related or not, that has really impacted you and you carry with you? Does anything come to mind there?
Yeah, it's a great question. I got a lot, bro. I
Okay.
live my life by that shit. And a
Right.
lot of them come from my dad. Um, I'll give you a few.
Sure. And this isn't just for me. This is for the entire people that are listening to this as well.
One is this E.E. Cummings quote. You ever hear that guy, E.E. Cummings?
That sounds familiar.
He's a famous poet, and I'm
Sure.
not somebody who's into poetry, or I don't even know a lot of any of his poetry. I'm not really a poetry guy. Some of it I enjoy, but it doesn't really speak to me all the time.
Right.
But E.E. Cummings had a quote once that I read. I believe it was on the back of a Bane record. I think I saw it in a record store. I don't even own it, but it just had a real impact on me. It said, and I'm going to butcher the quote, but it was something about like the most heroic thing to do in a world where everyone night and day is telling you to be everything but, is to continue fighting, to be only but, to continue fighting to just be yourself. So I always try to, for lack of a better term, to fight to be myself in every situation. And what does that mean? That doesn't mean I'm just going to do what I want in every situation, but it means that I'm going to fight whatever inner demons I have or whatever outer things going on to be comfortable in my own skin in any situation. It sounds like a very simple thing to do, but it's one of the hardest things to do in the world, is to be yourself in every situation. That's a life motto for me.
Yeah. And again, that goes back to like the idea of like maybe being yourself isn't being a crazy touring musician, but it's like this hardcore world is telling, get on the road, do all these things. So it's like, that's it's not available to everyone, and it's not for everyone. So yeah, I really like that, to fighting to be yourself. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Another one is the concept of mental toughness. Just, I think we always, in hardcore with the tough guy stuff, we always try to put an emphasis on physical toughness, but mental toughness is the true tough guy shit. My dad always just preached to me about mental toughness. Another thing my dad would always teach me, if you're going down, give them something to remember you by. So no matter what, and that's not just within fighting, no matter nothing, even if it's a performance or a sports game or a presentation at school or whatever, go for it. If it doesn't go your way and you lose, you still give it your all. If someone's beating you up, at least get a hit in there to leave a scar on them. So remember you.
I see.
You may not win the fight, but he'll have that scar on his chin every time he looks in that mirror. He'll remember you. So. Yeah. It's another life motto I live by. I try to just give it my all, even when I lose, and give people something to remember me by.
Yeah, I like that one too, because it for me, I see that as like, anybody doing anything creative is a huge venture, and not every single thing is gonna like translate and explode and like go the distance. But like, yeah. I know that if I ever been like, it's time to hang up Scoped, which it's funny because I said on a podcast, like, I think I can do this shit forever. It'll just look different on how it is. But like, if I did decide to hang it up, I know that I've left my mark on my scene, the hardcore scene at large. So even if someone's like, I fucking knew it, but it's like, you can't even deny that like this will be this will be talked about. And that's the cool thing with hardcore bands too, is that even if a band is only around for 2 years and maybe breaks up because of whatever reason, if they are that good, people will talk about that for 20 years to come for sure.
Yeah, man. I'll give you 2 others real quick. Another one comes from when I used to climb trees, my old boss Chris Reynolds. It's better to need and not have than to have and not need. I always plan with anything. I always do a little more than I should, just to have that safety net.
Yeah.
And then another one, it's funny, man. This is the second time I'm referencing my homie, Big Will. Shout out to Will. He lives in Florida now. He's going through a lot. I haven't seen him in a while. Much love to him. But he always had a saying that you could apply to anything. And it went like this. He would say, fuck it, rock on.
Fuck it, rock on?
Yeah, and
Okay.
like literally, he would say like, "Doesn't matter. Oh, you lost the fight. Fuck it, rock on. Your band didn't do good. Fuck it, rock on. Your house burned down. Fuck it, rock on. Your arm got chopped off. Fuck it, rock on. You just got to keep moving, man. You just got to keep moving, no matter what. You got to just fuck it and keep going."
Yeah. There will be times that I say "fuck it, rock on" at a hardcore show because I like that. Very
Fuck it, rock
applicable.
on. You
Kind
apply
of
it to
mosh
anything.
call related as well.
That's just my homie, man. He would always have that slang. He would always be like, "Rock on," you
Yeah.
know. So it's just what he would say. I don't really know. That's what he means. Just keep going, I guess.
Right. No, there's a lot of great things there for that covers
My
so many
daughter's
different
making
bases.
fun of me.
Oh, she's making fun of you?
That's what Will used to say. Yeah. No, it's cool.
Yeah. Maybe we should ask her what's the best piece of advice Jay is, but nah, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so, I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking of little sayings or whatever, it's been funny to hear how people have coined kickboxing as like a Jayism, and it's, you're shaking your head and you're like, I said this maybe like once, and now it's like the thing that people know me for.
I mean, I say it a lot, but I've been, yeah, I mean, people are running with a lot of stuff I say. It's cool. It's cool. Just, I don't know. I love the term kickboxing, so it doesn't bother me.
I think it was like the intro clip of our podcast where you're like, maybe karate someone. So it's like, I don't know. You're not a one-trick pony. You got a couple different ones.
I got a couple.
You did there was like a video that's pinned on the MINDFORCE account right now where you yelled like, "Let the fucking battle begin." I'm like, that shit is so crazy.
Yeah.
You're very much like, I feel like sometimes when you're speaking, it's almost like you're the announcer of like a fighting match, or like
I like that.
Armies coming together. So
that's what I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
a lot of stuff I say, a few things I've stolen. I think I stole "Let the battle begin" from one of my old heads, this dude Paul from Dissolve. I think I heard him say that before. Sometimes I'll say, "No survivors," and I took that from him too. He says that.
No survivors is hard. Yeah.
Yeah, no survivors.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've always wanted to do like a mosh call, like March Madness style thing, where you took everything that either blew up because it was like a, kind of like a viral thing, to like, stuff that people said on songs, and kind of just like put them literally like head to head and see who came out on top.
It's fun, man. Yelling that shit's fun. Sometimes some stupid shit will come out of your mouth.
Oh, yes.
I think I don't know what the hell I'm saying.
I think Sanction, This Is Hardcore 2017. There's and I don't know the vocalist by any means, but he said like cut someone's head off, which is like, obviously no one's taking that literally, but I'm like, damn, you really just went ahead and called.
I've said that. I've said chop some fucking heads off before.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one that maybe you said and you're like, I can't believe I just said that?
Oh, there's so much.
There's so.
My homie Beetle, I don't even know if I should say this on here, man. Yo, shout out Beetle. My homie Beetle was like,
we can bleep it if you want.
Yeah, no. I mean, he won't care. But my homie Beetle was like, yo, I want to say this shit at a show, and he was like, I can't remember, but it was something about aiming at the crowd or something. But it was like very firearm at the crowd. I was like, I just told him straight up. I was like, no, dude, you can't say that shit.
Right? Yeah, there's kids here.
So he didn't say it. I didn't say that, but that's what came to mind when you said that. Yo, Beetle, I'm sorry, but he didn't say it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. There's definitely been a few times where I didn't want to stop playing, and then after I noticed people who were like knocked out and shit on the ground, like twitching and shit, I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I stopped. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nothing that I've said, nothing comes to mind yet. Just that one conversation Beetle had about fucking aiming at the crowd, spraying at the crowd or some shit. I was like, fucking no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is really funny. Like, so that's another
Sorry,
thing on this
B.
episode, but yeah. Sometimes like I almost view that as like comedians testing out new material in a live show. It's like, oh, did this land or did this not land? Because sometimes you could say something that's like awakens an animal in someone, and then the mosh pit just lights up.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah,
that's what I like. I like when that happens.
You were also talking about on Hard Lore about you think that the pitting has gotten crazier in the last few years.
Yeah. Now, now before I say this, because I got all these messages. I get all these messages from that Hard Lore episode, and my messages. I'm just one person, man. I don't know everything.
Right.
And I can only speak from my own experiences. And I'm speaking specifically about the dance floor at these fests. I just think there's more people moshing more psycho than there ever has been before.
Psycho in their own way, right?
Psycho in their own way. Yeah, I think there were people going psycho in the 90s, and I'm specifically talking about the 90s. There were other people some guy messaged me thinking I was talking about 2010. I'm specifically talking about the 90s. There were people moshing psycho like that, but they were only the most psycho motherfuckers at the show. You know what I'm saying? Shows were definitely scarier in a lot of other ways. The people were scarier at the shows. There were more dangerous people there who would stab you, or, brandish a firearm maybe. And the shows were in scarier places. As far as what I'm seeing at these fests and shows, I mean, everybody's got a pass to punch anybody in the face right now, and I love it. I think it's great. And that's the other thing. By everybody being able to go more crazier, everybody being able to go more violent. Me personally, I like that better. But
yeah, I am also curious on like, because I think pre-internet hardcore, there's definitely people that would like, oh, you're from this part of the country, or you're from this state, and there's like different mosh styles that were established. But I think now that we're like, and like seeing all these videos and other people and like, highlight mosh clips or whatever, I feel like there's such uniqueness, like, for an individual, and they could be in Canada, they could be in Missouri, they could be in the Hudson Valley. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, but I am just seeing like, and it's hard to track at like a fest specifically, because there's so many people from all over coming to one spot. But do you still see that there's specific styles like from like one scene, or do you think that it's broadened and maybe diversified a little bit more?
I think it still happens. I still see it, regional styles, but not as much as I used to.
Right.
Not as much as I used to. I don't know why that is. I think
maybe it's just like a product of your environment. Like,
yeah, I don't know why that is. I think the internet probably has to do with a lot of it. People all watching the same videos instead of the different moshers that they're looking up to in their own scenes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because how I got my style when I used to get down and shit was looking at my favorite guys from my scene. And then when I would travel around, it would be different. It'd be a little bit of a different vibe,
right.
I don't know why that doesn't happen as much. It's definitely still there. You know what I mean? I think the Hudson Valley has its own style, it's definitely still there, but I don't think it's as pronounced as it once was.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any mosh styles or mosh moves that you can't get behind, as far as like the combos or anything like that? Like, because I think you said on Hard Lord the three the 3 kick combo is a personal favorite of yours. I'm curious which ones you're like, nah, that ain't it.
Yo, I just love moshing, man. I'm not. I think stage diving has got to get better right now.
Yeah, you were talking about people need. It's not.
I don't.
It's not even diving. It's stage falling, if anything.
Oh, you want to know what I'm not that into?
Sure.
And it's whatever. You do whatever you want. I'm never gonna be that guy telling anybody what to do or not. But when they get up and stand on stage and they just crowd kill the people at the bottom of the stage.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't hate it, but you know, I mean, you really think you're that much of a badass doing that?
You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a cheap shot, I think.
I mean, it's tough to say what isn't and is a cheap shot when we're talking about moshing, because it's fucking cheap shots everywhere. So I'm not gonna say that, but it's definitely a little like get me on camera.
I see.
You know, it's a little more I don't know. You're up in the tower as the sniper. You're not down with the soldiers in the trench.
Right.
Shout out Gridiron. You feel me?
Yeah, get in the trench, get off the tower. Yeah.
You know, don't be so concerned with getting in the video, man. Be more, just get out your fucking anger and your stylistic expression of violence. You know, don't. I don't know. That's cool. I don't mind it. It's whatever. But sometimes I think, you know, I don't see you out there. I only see you up here.
Yeah.
Don't just spend, you know, you could spend time in the sniper tower, but come down in the trench, my friend. Right. Come down in the trench.
Right. And yeah, like, I don't know, if you want to get like super mathematical about it, you know, if it's the Joe Hardcore 3 seconds on stage, there's, you know, you're definitely going a little bit over if you're like spending the time to, you know, duck goose everyone who's up front not to do that. They're up front to sing and grab the mic and do all those things. So
yeah, if you're spending a lot of time on stage, I'm gonna kick you off. I'm gonna kick you right in the face. I don't like that shit.
Right. Yeah.
It just starts to feel weird. Like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Right.
There's a few things, man. You do whatever you want, but you know, I'm gonna do whatever I want too. You feel me?
Exactly.
I'm gonna if you do whatever you want, but if it hurts me or I don't like it, I might just kick you. I might just do a little kickboxing myself. You know, so
I think the one thing that I'm personally not a fan of is when there's a bit of a human Transformers moment, if you know what I mean.
What's that? Like, explain that. That's an intriguing term.
I just thought of it now. It's essentially when, and there's different variations of this, but it's when two people, like they'll link arms, or one person will pick up the other person, and there will be like kick in or like swing, and they just become
okay, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So like, you know, it's essentially like Wonder Twins combining as like, okay, now that we're this machine, and it's always just like it's never the intensity of that can never be someone solo doing that, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. I've seen that here and there, yeah.
Yeah. And if it's on stage, that's definitely a no-no. So Jay will kick off 2 people off stage at that point.
I mean, come on stage, wild out, but, you know, don't make it your fucking home.
I want to jump back really quick to the album. And this is something, and you just correct the record. When people were talking about like favorite tracks or tracks that were like different and had a bit of, you know, nuances to what we expect from MINDFORCE. And again, just correct the record if I'm totally off base. Someone was mentioning or highlighting that there's like a love song on the record.
Yeah, there is. There's a love song.
Right.
You don't really find that too much in hardcore, I guess, if it's not like
maybe the love of the game or the love of the scene, but not like a standard love song. I don't know if there's anything you want to
yeah.
clarify there.
Oh no, yeah, it's yeah. So my wife's in the kitchen, she's smiling at me.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
I'm guessing it's about her.
yeah, it's
Okay,
about her.
gotcha.
You know, I don't know. Actually, you know, the Cro-Mags have a song called "The Only One." Have you ever heard of that before? On Best Wishes.
I think, yeah, probably like heard it maybe once or twice, but I'm struggling to recall all the lyrics from it.
That comes to mind as the only I'm sure there are others, but that's the only one I could think of right now. That's just like a straight love song, you know, not like a song where you broke up with someone and you're like, I loved you, you know.
Sure.
Get that a lot, you know, but yeah, no, you know, honestly, man, I'm gonna keep this one kind of simple because it's real personal.
Sure.
It's a love song from my wife. It's a certain kind of love song. It's not, you know, the lyrics are really specific to our love, you know, yeah, I don't know how to talk about that, man.
Yeah.
So
well, yeah, when she's on the other side of the computer there, then you know it's
a love song. Read the lyrics. I think they speak for themselves.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I wrote those lyrics like I wrote most of them on the way to practice. Like when we were writing that, I would come up with a concept and I would drive, like I had like a 45 to an hour drive to practice. And I would talk text most of all the lyrics. And I'm trying to think how I could say this. Just I had a wonderful day with my wife, and then I went to practice, and I wrote that song. I'll leave it at that.
That's very wholesome. And yeah, like I do agree that like it probably got a little bit more attention. Well, not like it got more attention, but like it was something that was not expected from the MINDFORCE camp, but also just not something that's super, you know, super common in hardcore nowadays. We're very much in the sea of, you know, here's the diss track, here's like the I Hate the World song or whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I got those too.
Yeah,
I got
exactly.
those too But no, you know what? This goes back to you know, talking about life rules. Just always trying to be yourself and do what makes you happy. You know,
totally.
Just wrote what I wanted to. I think I wrote it in a way where it still translates the way any lyrics should through, you know, through a hardcore song. And yeah, I'm proud of that song. But you know, out of respect for my wife, I'm not going to go into too much of the lyrics and stuff like that.
Sure.
And
totally fine. Fine. Speaking
and,
of things that you love,
yeah.
Let's talk about pizza.
Say no more, my friend.
So,
my shit.
So
well, that's what bums me out.
Mm-hmm.
When I was hurt real bad and I couldn't go to Canada, I wanted to play the show, but I really wanted to see what Canadian pizza was like.
Oh, bro, that was like my number one thing that I was
Me
crushed
too.
by. Like, you know,
me too, man. I was
trying to
like,
manifest that fresh slice with Jay, but you know, I know that will come one day. Cut to
we're most definitely we're working on it.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Yeah.
So we talked, you know, again, this is I always like to connect, you know, the first time we were on the podcast to this time.
Cool.
The first time, this is pre FYA 2023. You said you had a really bad Florida pizza experience. Did you have a Florida pizza experience that made up for that bad one?
Nah, I was on a crazy diet this year.
Oh no. Florida let you down twice now. Well, I guess like you weren't entertained.
No, I guess I let myself down, but not. I'll be honest though. I don't think I would have. I don't know if I would have. No, I was on a. I'm eating gluten. I'm trying to eat gluten free here and there.
Okay.
So
that's tough to find gluten free. awesome gluten-free pizza. It's very tough out there for that.
The only good gluten-free pizza, I've only had one good gluten-free pizza. I've been trying it everywhere. I still eat regular pizza, but just not as much. I have like 2 cheat days a month where I go wild. I eat whatever I want. So I usually save my pizza days for then. But you know, a lot of pizza is being made. A lot of pizza is made with sourdough now. And you know, I eat sourdough.
Oh,
so,
okay. Does sourdough not have gluten in it?
You're gonna have to Google the science behind this.
Okay.
But there's something. Yeah, I don't think it has gluten in it, or there's some way the process of making it breaks. It does something where I can still eat it.
Okay, I just Googled it. It says regular sourdough bread is not gluten-free. While the natural bacteria may make it easier to digest in the fermentation process decreases the amount of gluten, it does not reach.
It's not
okay,
gluten-free,
so it's less gluten. I got you.
Well, the way your body breaks the gluten down is different.
Oh, I see.
So it is less gluten, but even the way it's prepared, it's different. Like the way you're.
I see.
I don't know, man. I just follow the orders. I don't try to understand.
I don't make the bread. I just eat it. I love sourdough. So yeah, sourdough. I
do eat sourdough bread still. Yeah, I was eating a lot of fish and a lot of chicken when I was out there for like the omega-3. I'm really trying to cut down on the inflammation in my body from eating so unhealthy.
I feel you on that.
Cut down on injuries and shit like that. You know,
so I am going to approach this last subject on pizza as like, I haven't done this in a while with the podcast guest, but we're going to do a overrated, underrated for all these different pizza categories. And
this is exciting. I like this.
Yes, of course. So, and you know, these are Jay's opinions, so don't come at him.
Yeah, a man can have it. Listen, hey, world. You don't have to agree with everything everybody says. It's what makes opinions fun. All right?
Especially pizza.
My favorite people in the world have different opinions than me, but we respect each other. You feel me?
We order our own pizzas.
There you go. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
So the first and inarguably the most controversial, and again, you could say overrated, underrated, or if you're kind of in the middle, you could say properly rated.
Okay, overrated, underrated, properly rated. I'm ready.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Hawaiian. Pineapple on pizza.
Oh, fuck no, dude.
No? Listen, you're not a Hawaiian gang?
Listen, man. I'm not big on pineapple to begin with.
Oh, okay.
So, and before I keep going.
We've already lost so many people. I'm just kidding.
Hey, world. You put whatever on your pizza you want to. I'm no pizza Nazi. I'm not going to tell anybody how to eat their pizza. But will Jason Anthony Petagine ever put pineapple on his pizza? It's not going to happen, man.
Okay.
Not going to happen.
There's an alternate reality where there's a Jay in a band called MINDFORCE.
Oh my God.
Eating pineapple pizza in a MINDFORCE music video. How trippy is that?
I can't.
I'm breaking Jay's brain right now.
But you know, my wife and daughter, you guys like pineapple on pizza, right? Yeah, they like it, you know, and
You're the outlier.
You know, I'm in a long text thread with my homie Aaron, who makes pizza, and you know, a bunch of other people make pizza, and we're like pizza connoisseurs, you know what I mean? Silly dudes slanging pizza all the time, and a lot of them are about pineapple, you know. All that stuff's cool. It's not like, you know, I'm like, oh no one can eat pineapple. It's not for me, you know. It's not for me.
Yeah, and this is why we do this segment. You know, it's not
underrated. Oh no, overrated.
Overrated.
To the fucking moon. Overrated to the moon.
Wow, to the moon. Yeah. Okay, well.
I'm sorry.
Strong takes right out the get-go. Okay. Stuffed crust. where you put the cheese in the crust.
Perfectly rated. I like it.
Oh, perfectly rated. Okay, not
Yeah,
even
yeah.
properly.
I'll fuck with some. I'll fuck with some stuffed crust. Let me tell you. Have you ever tried making stuffed crust pizza?
No, that is not a venture I want to fail
Because
at.
that's something you find, I think, a little more in like the fast food pizza things.
Mm-hmm.
You know
But
what I
if you
mean? Like
make
Pizza
it,
Hut.
oh, I see. I
It can
see
be
where you're going.
tricky if you make it.
Yeah.
It can be tricky if you make it. One time, my wife and I made it, and the mozzarella cheese, every time we kept biting into the crust, it kept shooting at us and burning our lips because it would get like, you know, it could be tricky
Yeah.
to get the shape right. It could be a little tricky.
Like classic cheese pizza. And this is cheese pizza, not like a margarita pizza that we've talked about. Is cheese pizza overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Okay.
Plain slice is underrated. It's one of the greatest things on this earth.
Okay.
You have to find the beauty in the simplicity.
It's true. That is
Okay?
the quote of this episode. When it comes to
That
cheese
you have
pizza.
to find the beauty in the simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
When you have too many ingredients, all those ingredients, it could be great altogether, but it takes away from the specifics of each one.
Right.
I think cheese pizza is underrated. When I go to a new place, I'm only having a cheese slice first.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's underrated, man. I really mean that. I'm huge on a cheese pie. It's my favorite pie.
Okay. What about pepperoni? That's the next one on my list.
Perfectly rated.
Okay.
The shit's pretty popping. Perfectly rated.
And now we're gonna add a few more toppings and do like a deluxe. So that's
all right, get crazy on me.
Yeah. So that's your like green pepper mushroom, maybe a little bit of bacon, pepperoni. Are we at a point where it's like there's too many toppings for you?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm into it. Like I had a really great Detroit style pizza with fried chicken on it.
Oh, fried
That was
chicken.
A little different.
Yeah.
It was, that shit was fucking popping, man. It was great. It was great. No, I don't mind a lot of certain toppings, but I don't like, you know, when you start bringing in pineapple and like fruit, like, I don't know.
I just full disclosure, I am a big pineapple pizza person.
No,
so
the people I love the most in the whole world just told me they love pineapple.
It's true.
I want you to enjoy your pizza, man. Again, put the pineapple on right in front of me. I won't say nothing about it. But if you say, hey, Jay, you got to try it, I'm going to say, man, I don't really think so. That's all. I love pizza experiences. I love regional pizzas. I love trying different pizza stuff. But yeah, the pineapple is not for me.
How about white sauce pizzas? So that's like, yeah.
Perfectly rated.
Okay.
I got to tell you.
Do you think red sauce is better across the board?
Yeah. But it depends. It depends on the pizza. Like, it's a red sauce, but it's not a marinara. But my homie Aaron from POI at his pizza place, Tommy B's.
Tommy B's, shout out.
Shout out Tommy B's. He does a vodka sauce slice. That's fucking It's incredible. It's incredible. I might like he does a vodka slice sauce that's just out of this world. Yeah.
What's like the weird, like you said the fried chicken one was pretty out there. Like, is there any others that you're like, these ingredients shouldn't go together, but for some reason they're working right now?
Yeah. You ever have honey on pizza?
I've had hot honey. I think hot honey is goated.
Yeah. So the way hot honey works too, the pizza I'm thinking of, the meat they use is usually spicy. So then they just put on the honey. But when Aaron showed me that for the first time, I was like, honey, bro? And then I ate it and I was like, holy shit. I don't. It was just. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
I see. So, just correct me if I'm wrong. You'll try a slice before judging it, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So, when's the
Absolutely.
last time you had Hawaiian pizza?
Years.
Oh,
Years.
so it was that bad of an experience to this day. You're like, never again.
Yeah, but remember, I don't like pineapple to begin with.
Right.
You know,
So there's nothing even enticing, like where you're like having it on its own, like maybe eat some pineapple and then have a slice of pizza, but like maybe not together. But nah.
Nah, probably not. You know, I'm at a point in my life where I've tried so many things. I mean, I'll still try new things, but I really know what I want out of
Yeah,
things lately,
true.
you know? And when it comes to food, you know, I can be really traditional with a lot of stuff, you know? To the dismay of my wife, I can be really traditional.
Yeah. Here's a question. What about like dessert pizzas? Do you fuck with dessert pizzas?
I don't even really know what that is.
There's
Like,
there's a chain up here in Canada called Famoso, and my wife was really big on it, and they would get this like Nutella pizza. I feel like this is already not up your alley, but it's essentially a pizza, and there would be like chocolate and like caramel, and then they would do like bananas and stuff on that.
Abby, can you hear me? What was like what was that stuff called? They brought it out at Posto. It was like the Nutella. Baba Booey. Have you ever something called Baba Louie?
Baba
It's like a
Booey?
dessert. It's not exactly like that, but it has to do with, it has a lot of Nutella on it
Oh, okay.
and dough. I don't know nothing about that, dude, but I'll try it.
Okay.
So it's just in the shape of a pizza.
Yeah.
Is it on pizza dough?
Yeah, it's pizza dough, but it's like not like super like it's still like the dough isn't like sweet, but it's not like ultra savory.
I gotta try it when I come.
Yeah, I guess so.
I gotta try it when I come.
I think one of the last pizza questions I can ask you: what is the proper way to eat a slice of pizza? What's the most correct way, and what's the most incorrect way, in your opinion?
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not into making rules for anybody. You know, I don't really appreciate somebody eating pizza with a fork and knife personally.
Okay.
But if you are gonna do that, go for it. But me personally, I like bending my pizza all over. You know, I like bending it.
Not even just like the fold in at like the.
I like the fold in. You know, but yeah, I guess the fold in and just eat it like that.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah, this may surprise you. I've never really thought about that too much. I just eat it. I just eat the shit.
Well, I've unfortunately seen, and whether it was a joke, I just think it's very disrespectful to the pie itself when people eat crust first and work their way.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. You've seen people do that.
Yeah, and whether they do it as a joke, I'm like, that's not even funny to me.
Crust first.
Yeah. And it's not even stuffed crust. It's just straight up
I've
crust.
never seen that. I've never seen that. That's interesting. Wow, they really like crust, huh?
I guess so.
Wow. All right.
Adobo.
I've never seen that. That's cool. You know, I mean, yeah, no, I like the fold. I like the classic fold, boom, boom. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe throw a piece to my dog. She catches it in her mouth.
Yeah.
Keep eating. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Do you have a go-to pizza dip for your crusts, or you're not? You're just like bread only, no dips.
No, I just eat it. I'll just eat it as it is. Okay. Maybe if somebody has a little extra marinara, I'll dip it in there.
Yeah.
But I'll just eat it as it is. My wife and daughter love ranch with their pizza.
Oh, what are your thoughts on that? It seems you and the rest of your family have totally opposite pizza vibes.
Yeah, I mean,
You're
no,
outnumbered.
they like the kind of pizza I like too, but they're more experimental than me. And they like ranch, like they'll dip their crust in ranch. And I mean, that's shocking to me. I don't do that, you know. I don't. Do you
feel like
fuck with that?
No. Like maybe if it was
Sometimes
like
they'll do.
like a fancy kind of ranch. I just feel like if you're just buying a ball of ranch from the grocery store, it's just a flavor that just overpowers everything. I
And
don't like it.
sometimes they'll even do. Tiff, you'll eat barbecue sauce with your pizza, also, right? Yeah, that shit breaks my fucking brain, man. She loves it. I just love it. Barbecue. I just, what the fuck is going on here? Barbecue. What are we gonna do next? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
You gotta draw a line.
you have to
Sometime.
draw a line somewhere.
What's
Is
up,
nothing
Tiff?
sacred? I
Listen,
love
she
that
don't give
Jay
a.
is.
Let me tell you something. She don't give a fuck what I think. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
So.
Well, I give a fuck what you think, and this will be
Yeah.
the last pizza question I ask. And this is your way to create the perfect pizza experience brought to you by Jay of MINDFORCE.
And please, anybody listening out there, I love pizza with all my heart. When I come to your city, I would love to know the best pizza place to go, the best stuff. Please bring me pizza and weed.
But if it has pineapple or ranch on it, I'm not vibing with it.
I mean, you can eat it, but don't put it on my slice.
Put it on the side. Come on.
Yeah.
So, Jay, the question is, come on, microphone, start to work for me. The question goes, there's 4 members in MINDFORCE.
Yeah.
We're starting a J.
Well, there's actually 5.
Oh, okay. An
There's
unofficial
actually 5. No, they're official,
okay.
but they're just the 5th member is Jack from AOA, who always plays bass when Nick can't play bass. And you know, it's a good amount, you know what I mean? He's with us a lot. So both we consider him in the band.
Okay. Shout out to
and
Jack.
Then there's a couple other people who we just consider in the band for the type of energy they bring that we need around to make the music we got to make.
I got you. So
yeah.
Okay, I feel like I need to ask how many official members would you say are in this band, even if there's only 4 people on stage?
6.
6. Okay.
Yeah, Mike, me, Donnie, Nick, Jack, Beetle.
Okay, so 6, and you'll understand why I'm asking in a second here. We're doing Jay's Pizza.
Okay.
Your dream, you know, playing in bands is maybe not on the cards. You know, the teaching stuff is maybe not the move anymore. We're doing a pizza spot that you're running. You're the creative vision behind it all.
The fantasy.
Fantasy, yes. This is your fantasy
a lot
draft
of so much
pizza.
work, though. Yeah.
What are the 6 pizzas that are on your menu? You create it.
Plain New York slice. Then a plain Connecticut slice, which is a little different than a New York slice. Not a lot, but a little different. I love Connecticut pizza just as much.
Can you explain for the non-Connecticut keys? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a little difference in the sauce that I couldn't detail, but the specific difference is that they use a certain type of onion and certain type of oven, and they char the bottom of it. Like they almost cook it well done. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And they char the bottom, the crust real black. And it's incredible. It's incredible.
So is it more like crunchy at that point?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. It's so the best way I could describe it in a simple way, and someone who knows it intricately is gonna probably be like, that's terrible, but like a New York slice, but cooked more.
Okay.
Sort of, but still different. But I'd have one of those, a traditional New York slice, a traditional Connecticut slice. Then I would have a carbonara slice.
Okay. Good choice.
Which is You know, it's more like a carbonara pasta instead of sauce. The red sauce, you have egg yolk you use, and it's spicy. You can even put a little bacon on there.
Mm-hmm.
Then for my fourth one, I would have the bee sting, the honey slice.
We
I
talked
love
about
that
the bee
slice.
sting. Yeah. We talked about that last episode.
Then for the fifth slice, I would have a classic Neapolitan white slice. And it would be based after my mother's white slice that she would make when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So the difference with that is, you ever see they drop the ragat on it in like puddles?
Oh,
like
yes.
dots?
Yeah. Versus
mine would be spread out flat like the sauce.
Yo, what?
That's how I like it a lot better. I don't like the drops. Growing up, my mother and grandma would make it with the ragat like the sauce spread out. I like that a lot better.
Even playing field for everyone. Yeah.
That'd be my slice. And then lastly, my sixth slice. Oh, this is tough because it's the last slot. So I really got to make it count.
Mm-hmm. Jay's really thinking about this. I see the wheels turning.
I know. I'm going to go with a fried chicken slice. Oh, no. Fried chicken cutlet slice.
Oh, interesting.
That's my sixth one.
Okay.
That's my sixth slice.
That's
fried
a wild
chicken
card.
Cutlet slice.
Someone
You
reading
ever
that
have
menu
it?
is like, wait, this is on it as well? This is it?
Well, let me tell you, more people should do it, because when you eat the shit, you feel like you got fucking superpowers. It's so good. All right? Chicken cutlet, as thin as possible. So thinner than a slice of lined paper. Thin as shit. And then cut it up and put it all over the pizza. That's my sixth slice. That's Jay's Pizzeria. That was one of the funnest questions I've ever been asked. Thank you.
Oh, that is. I'm glad that you had as much fun going through it as much as I did just listening to it and envisioning. Jay, it's always a blast.
I hope because my old head, my fucking brother Aaron, he's got a real pizza place. I hope I make him proud when he heard this. I hope those were good choices.
You've maybe given him some business ideas, so we'll see.
Oh no, this guy's got crazy ideas. Yeah.
Well, Jay, it's always great to have you on the podcast. Like, I just love chatting with you. You're just a very down to earth dude who will talk hardcore pizza and everything in between.
Oh, thanks, man.
You know, I'm much looking forward to the day that we could be sharing a slice somewhere around the world.
Hell yeah.
Doing that. All of your links and the MINDFORCE links will be in the links in the description and in the show notes. But if there's anything you want to end the people with, shout out, or anything you want to say before we go, the floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, no. Much love to anybody who picked up New Lords. Album's really special to me, and much love to anybody, not just at our shows, but going crazy at our shows. I want people to try to get excited and open up and stage dive for the first time if they haven't yet. And also just shout out to Triple B, shout out to Days, shout out to Streets of Hate, shout out to Scheme, shout out to Age of Apocalypse, shout out to everybody from the Hudson Valley, and all our homies. Thank you so much.
Beautifully said. So many people that have either been on this podcast or that I hoped that one day will be on this podcast. But Jay, thank you again for all your time, and here's to hoping you have a nice slice tonight on me.
Thanks, man. It's not cheat day, but soon.
Soon.